and welcome everyone. This is a special live episode of Light Body Radio. And today I have with me Dr. Staci. Hi, how are you? Welcome, welcome.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Laura. Doing well. How are you?
I'm great. This is going to be all about Lifewave patches and their technology. And this is really one of the first episodes I've done about the Lifewave patches. So I want this one to just be sort of a general overview and sort of let people out there know and understand what they are, what their potential is, sort of how they work and all that good stuff. And then we can maybe dig into some more detailed things towards the end. Would you mind telling our audience just a little bit about yourself and your background before
Yes,
we get started?
absolutely. So my background originally started 30 plus years ago as a school teacher. So I love to teach, train, educate, and I got into health and wellness, different types of tools and modalities about 20, a little over 20 years ago. And so I have a PhD in integrative medicine and a PhD in functional medicine. And so I focus in on different types of alternative therapies, holistic modalities. Nutrition has always been my foundation my entire life. So that's always my focus. Detoxification is 100% the focus as well too. And then of course, like I said, using different tools, different techniques, different modalities to be able to help bring the body into balance. So it's all about homeostasis and balance with the body. And there are many different types of tools that can do that. I always say I've got a big toolbox, and I use different things in my toolbox depending on what's going on with the person, their needs, and whatnot. And I'm always learning. As an educator, I'm a lifelong learner. And so I love to learn. I love to find new things, try new things. And obviously, if I find something I love and I'm passionate about, then I will share it. And so that's why with Lifewave, I decided 2.5 years ago to actually partner with David Schmidt, the inventor of the technology, the owner of the company, partner with the company and be able to bring this product to market here, not only in the United States, but also globally. We are open in 81 countries to be able to help people improve their quality of life with this simple and easy and effective technology that I've honestly found is, I'm saying this lack of a better word, more powerful than anything I've found in over 20 years because of how simple and easy and effective it is and affordable. And so it just really is a tool for anyone and everyone that's looking to, even if it's just pain reduction or better quality of sleep or more energy, physical, mental, energy,
Mm-hmm.
clarity, those kinds of things. And then, of course, as people out there the last 3 years, things in their health has taken a turn for the worst, right? And
Yeah.
so we can see a serious decline in people's quality of life. And so this technology offers them not only the hope, but the actual benefit of being able to stop that process, that decline process, and be able to help reverse some of the damage, if not all of that damage that's been done in their body, and be able to help them get their life back.
Yeah. So, can you tell us a little bit about what is this technology? How do the life wave patches actually
Yeah,
work with our body and in
absolutely.
general?
Yeah, yeah. So this is what the patch looks like. It's a non-transdermal patch. It's sticky on one side and smooth on the other. So this is a wearable light technology. And so it works with our body's light or heat that we emit. We are about 98.6 degrees. We know that we emit low level infrared light. If you were to go outside at night, you would look through night vision goggles and you could see the outline of people or animals from the heat, right? The colors that their body is emitting. And so this technology works with that. When I say non-transdermal, it means there's nothing entering the body, nothing transferring from this patch into the body. So this sticky part and the smooth part, I'm going to talk to you about what that white disc is. That's embedded in there. And so it's not entering the body. No chemical, no nutrient, no herb, no medicine, nothing is entering. So how is it working if it's a wearable light technology that works with our body's light? Well, I mentioned David Schmidt, the inventor of this technology. He's invented what's inside of that white part. And basically, it's a crystal lattice structure. It's a reflective crystal structure that's inside of there. It's made up of organic compounds, molecules that form together in a specific way. So when I put this on my body in the morning when I get up, brush my teeth, put my patch on, immediately what happens is my body's heat or light that I am emitting hits this patch and reflects back into me, my own light, but in a very specific wavelength. Okay. And there are many millions, probably different wavelengths of light, right? So many
Mhm.
different wavelengths. So over 10 years in the lab, David finally figured out which wavelength of light does what this patch does that I'll share with you here in just a second. But you put it on immediately, it reflects back my light in a very specific wavelength. And that wavelength then inside of the body elevates a specific peptide. Okay, so if you, let's just use an example. Right now it's sunny. I'm here in Florida. If I were to go outside, the sun, obviously you can see I have a tan. I live in Florida, and so the sun is always out here pretty much 24/7. And so when I go outside, the sun hits my skin. The skin, of course, I don't feel anything. I don't see anything entering my body, but we know that inside of my body, that wavelength of light, specific wavelength from the sun, elevates my vitamin D. We all know that. It elevates my melanin, which is an antioxidant, which is why my skin is a golden brown color, right? Because that's my own natural sunscreen that the sun helps provide me. And so those things happen inside and I don't feel them. And so when you put this patch on, you don't feel that wavelength of light entering your body, but that wavelength actually elevates a peptide in the body. This peptide, which peptides are chains of proteins, amino acids, which are, of course, the building blocks of the body. This peptide is called GHKCU, copper peptide. Now, that peptide is responsible for a lot of things. Okay, you can go to PubMed and type in GHKCU, and you can see cardiovascular benefits, neurological benefits. You can see pain reduction benefits, and lowering inflammation. You can see, things with the joints and just all kinds of benefits from elevating GHK. But one of the things that this patch does is it actually resets a third of your genes. That's one of the benefits of GHK, gene resetting. So we have genes, thousands of genes. Well, over 4,000 of them are reset to their young, youthful, healthy state the moment you put the patch on. So that's in and of itself is amazing. GHK, we know, is the fountain of youth. You would probably hear of GHK if you get facials. Your estheticians use GHK serums because of what that does to help with lines and wrinkles and spots and things like that. But for this patch, not only, of course, does elevating your own GHK does that, it does all the other things. Probably the most pronounced and dramatic benefit that the patch does is it elevates your own stem cells. It activates, it mobilizes dormant stem cells. And because it's resetting those genes, we have stem cells, your stem cells that are woke up, that are now young and youthful and healthy, vibrant, going in your body, doing whatever your body needs in whatever order to repair and regenerate different areas that are damaged or not functioning correctly. Stem cells are the holy grail of healing. We know that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
I used to do stem cell injections with my daughter. We did hyperbaric oxygen therapy, lots of different types of stem cell therapies. Some of them obviously were invasive. They were extremely expensive. And,
Mhm.
of course, no guaranteed benefits or results, potential maybe side effects or risks. So with our patch, we have no contraindications because nothing's entering the body, no side effects, no interactions. It literally happens. This biophotonic exchange of information, our light communicating with the light inside of the patch, causes this biochemical reaction inside of the body the second you put it on, and starts waking up your stem cells that are dormant and activating them, resetting stem cells. And so no matter what age you are, we know as we age, we have less and less stem cells that are active, whether you're in
Mhm.
your 30s and you have half of them that are active, or if you're in your 60s, you have less than 10%. This is, let's go. Do what you did when you were a kid. Let's wake you up. Let's get this body back in balance. Let's help remove some pain. Let's help repair the body. Let's help you sleep better. Let's help you reduce some inflammation and clear that brain fog and get you some more energy, physical energy. Let's recover faster. Wound healing. Let's help the body heal faster, because that's what stem cells do, and so much more. And actually, Dr. Laura, a beautiful benefit of this patch is this is not a quick fix. Okay, we're in regenerative medicine, so regenerative
Mhm.
medicine says I'm going to regenerate. I'm going to take old organs, old tissues, old cells, and regenerate, repair them, make them young, youthful, and healthy again. That happens over time. So this is something that you would wear every day. You put it on in the morning when you get up, leave it on 12 hours, take it off, throw it away. Get up the next morning, put on a new one, 12 hours, take it off, throw it away, same thing. You would do this over time based on your age. So pretty much, 1 month for every decade. If you're in your 50s, 5 months, 60s, 6 months, 77 months, or if you're like me, just stop patching whenever you want to start aging again. So we have a huge age reversal component. The longer people patch, not only do we see the differences in their body, in their skin, in their neck, in their face, and their, the way their skin feels, but we know that aging's an inside job. And
Mhm.
so the longer they use the patch, I like to call, people's problems a grocery list. If you were going to on all the issues you had, all the symptoms, all the problems, all the things you want gone that you didn't have when you were a kid, right? When you were younger, you weren't born with these things. So, they've developed over time. And so if you continue to patch, you'll be able to cross all those things off your grocery list and to be able to have the best quality of life and live a long, healthy life. I use the patch for prevention, for
Mhm.
vitality, longevity, and overall wellness. I've never had any health issues or conditions. All the things that I've talked about that I've been into all these years, I've done to myself. And so I've kept myself very healthy. But I obviously work with that group of people, but I also work with, people that have, varying different issues and health conditions. So this helps no matter what.
Wow, that's amazing. It's so much to unpack there too. So I want to talk about you touched on the stem cells,
Mhm.
and so let's tell people a little bit more about inflammation and stem cells and sort of like reversing disease process.
Mhm.
So, like, we're not making any claims specifically, but we know through studies that have been published and research that's
Mhm.
been done that if you decrease inflammation in your body, you become healthier,
Mhm.
and or inflammation is the root cause of all disease,
Yep.
pretty much in some way, shape, or form.
Mhm.
And so, and in order, like you said, stem cells are the holy grail of healing. So can we talk a little bit more and like explain maybe a little bit more about that to help people understand
Yeah.
why, like maybe, yeah, like why do I care, or why should I care if my stem cells are working or not, or how
Mhm.
many I have?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, that's whew, it's a really big thing to care about. So, like you said, inflammation is the root cause of disease. If you go to your doctor, you do blood work, they're looking at inflammatory markers. They're looking at your fibrinogen, hopefully. They're looking at
Yeah.
your cytokines, your C reactive proteins, the homocysteine. They're looking at your lipids and they're saying, okay, we have, your A1C. We're looking at these levels going, ooh, these markers are high. That tells the doctor that you are in an inflammatory process and you have disease taking place inside of your body, whether it's heart disease, diabetes, obviously we have Alzheimer, dementia, cancer. I mean,
Cancer, yeah.
autoimmune. I mean, you name it. Any of the things, any of the diagnosis from the doctor, they can look at that blood work and say this inflammation is causing this. We've
Mhm.
got to get the inflammation down. Where does inflammation come from? Well, obviously our environment. We are bombarded by EMFs, 5G, radiation. We are bombarded with things in our air that were not there before. Our water source is contaminated. Our food, is that even really food? You sometimes you're like, oh, stay on the outside of the grocery store, and you're like, wait a minute, stay on the outside of the grocery store in the organic section, which may only be this big, or just
Right.
go grow it yourself, because
Yeah.
what they're doing to the food today is causing massive inflammatory processes inside of the body. And so all of that, you may be like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Can I just like breathe air to live? You're like, not really.
Right? It can be
It's healthy to
overwhelming even just
have it
thinking
there.
about that.
It can. And so that's what I love about this technology is there's so many things out there that cause inflammation every single day, personal care products, cleaning products, all of that. But we can only do what we can do, right? You can't live in a bubble. You just can't. And so this patch, because it elevates that peptide, GHKCU, copper peptide, one of the things that peptide does is bring down those inflammatory markers. That's a big component of it. And that's why we see people like, for example, athletes. I don't know if you know this or not, but a lot of athletes inject GHK on a regular basis into
Mm,
their body, like needle, syringe, and then injection. They do that for recovery, for repair, to reduce the inflammation so they can get back out there and go faster because it helps with the circulation, the blood flow, being able to bring oxygen to all of the tissues and cells for faster healing and recovery. And so, and again, people with, anti-aging, right? They're very concerned about GHK. And a lot of times they'll use that injection in their protocol too. So again, non-invasive. This activates your own GHK, elevates your own GHK because that's what this wavelength of light does. And we have clinical studies. You can go to startx39now.com. It's not connected to anyone. It's just a general website that we have that houses all of our clinical studies. And you can see the double blind placebo controlled studies, peer reviewed, that show this actually elevates that peptide in the blood without being invasive, right? So you
mhm,
reduce the inflammation in the body. Okay, now what's happening for after that, GHK is elevated is actually elevating, activating, and mobilizing your own stem cells. So like I said, stem cells are the holy grail of healing. You were born from a stem cell. Like literally you have an egg and a sperm, they frolic, and we have stem cells. And
right.
those cells turn into organ cells, heart cells, kidney, liver, tissue, whatever, right? And so once you're born, then you have some of what we still call pluripotent stem cells. And that's what keeps kids young and youthful, right? 5-year-olds don't have gray hair, 10-year-olds don't have heart disease, and 12-year-olds don't have back pain, all right? They have their bodies are always repairing. Johnny can fall off his bike, break his arm, and he gets up and takes off running again. Like he's never missed a beat. Grandma falls out of bed, breaks her hip. She's not getting back up. Like the
Mhm,
likelihood that she's going to heal from this is very, very small. And that's because as we age, like I said, those stem cells become dormant. They're not active in your body anymore. And so your body's ability to heal and repair and recover is declining, it's diminished. And so we see that degeneration process. So we can bring the inflammation levels down, those inflammatory markers down. We're elevating our own stem cells, waking them up, resetting them back to their young, youthful, healthy state. They go to work to do anything that's needed in your body, any organ, kidney, let's say for example, a lot of people have kidney issues, right? And that's, you can see that as a extreme long exposure to toxins. We get into environmental toxins, pesticides, all that kind of stuff. And same thing with your liver. It's bombarded, it's your cleaner, and it's like,
right.
I'm done, right? Your liver's not functioning. And so it becomes damaged. We have fatty liver for people that don't even drink. They don't, you know what I mean? But sugar consumption
Mhm,
causes all of this today in people. And so when you're able to activate your own stem cells, those stem cells, they go to work like they did when Johnny was a kid, right? They're young and youthful. They're saying, hey, let's go. I'm doing this. And your body knows how to heal itself. So you can't direct your stem cells. You can't say, oh, my kidneys are messed up, or oh, my liver is, I need them to go there. You have to be patient with the process. That's why I talked about that time. But what will happen is these inflammatory markers will start to come down, and your stem cells will start repairing whatever is damaged. And so we see the body come back into homeostasis. So people go back 6 months later and they have their blood work done, or they go back and they get their scans, their CT or their ultrasound or their MRIs, and things have changed. Or they go back to their eye doctor, right? And their vision has improved. How does your vision, how are you 70 years old and I have to reduce your prescription? That doesn't make sense. Or they go to their dentist and they're like, oh my gosh, your pockets are smaller. Like you don't have any dental issues anymore. How is that happening? Because of the body's stem cells going wherever they need to address the inflammatory process to be able to help repair and regenerate whatever's damaged.
Wow, thank you. That was that was perfect, I love it. So let's talk about a little bit, what are the options within what LifeWave offers in terms of the different patches? Like you've mentioned the X39,
Mhm.
which is this, I call it the stem cell stimulator. And
Mhm.
then one of the other ones that I like to use is the X49, which I understand is like a sort of like a performance support or like recovery
Mhm.
support. And then yeah, and then there's another one that I really like for that actually helps support your own body's glutathione production, which is
Mhm.
the master detoxification chemical or component of the body.
Yeah.
So I'll stop there and let you take it away.
Okay.
But
Okay, absolutely. So X49 is David's most recent patch. So David's been inventing patches for 20 years. So this is not a new thing for him. He was working with the Navy SEALs 20 years ago, and he was inventing survival equipment, and they asked for something to help with oxygenation, help with sustainability, endurance, stamina in the field, and he invented his first patch with them. And so over the 20 years, he's invented a dozen patches. His most recent is called X49. It's been out for 2 years. So X39, this one that I have right here, activates GHKCU. X49 activates AHKCU. So it's a daughter peptide. So picture a mom and a daughter that love each other. They work really well together.
Mhm.
That's what X39, 49 do. So X39 activates those stem cells systemically, like systemic throughout the whole body. They'll do whatever, 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 whatever. AHK, that copper peptide, is responsible for specific areas. It has affinities to muscle, for example, reducing body fat. So, building lean muscle, reducing body fat, bone. When you put 39, 49 together, they stop bone loss and they increase bone density. They have 49 has huge neurological and cardiovascular benefits looking at our clinical studies. We can see reduction of systolic, diastolic blood pressure. And so we can see cognitive benefits, right? When you look at neurodegenerative types of issues with people, we can see a lot of progress from using 39, 49 together. So 49, that peptide likes to go to certain areas where 39's throughout. When you put them together, though, like I said, they exponentially work with each other to be able to help with increasing lean muscle mass, grip strength, bicep, core, quads, things like that. And also being able to stop that bone loss and increase bone density, which is super important as we age. When you think about as we age, we tend to put on more body fat, we tend to have less lean muscle mass, and our bones are not as strong as they used to be. And so when you use that combo, that addresses some serious core issues inside of the body for longevity. Not to mention the cardiovascular and neurological, heart, brain, you're not going to live without them, right? And so we can see that those two for sure being very, very key for overall general wellness and health and longevity. And
Mhm.
of course, if you're an athlete, if you're someone that works out, like for example, my teenage son, we can see huge gains in the gym because of the recovery, building the lean muscle mass. For myself, being able to run longer, farther, faster, no downtime, not the soreness is gone. If you're already someone that works out, we see people even in their 60s, 70s that didn't do much more than go for a walk, and now they're jogging, or now they're able to do steps and add extra things to their workout routine that they never could before. Now, glutathione's totally different. Okay, glutathione is already in your body, just like these peptides are. It's the master antioxidant, detoxer, immune booster. You got plenty of glutathione when you're a kid, and of course, the oldest people on the planet, if you're familiar with the blue zones, they have the highest level of glutathione in their body. So they're doing something right to live past
Right.
100. So glutathione is one of those things that we're like, "Whoo, we want more of this." Well, you can do a supplement, like a liquid or a suppository, or you can do an IV push. Even at the end of a vitamin drip, they'll do a big push of glutathione. The problem with glutathione supplements is they're only going to elevate your own glutathione about 20, 23%, unless you want to do a coffee enema. Personally, don't really have time for that. Not really interested in doing that on a daily basis. I like to drink my coffee,
Yeah.
but there are benefits, doing those coffee enemas to elevate your glutathione. But again, that's something you're going to have to do daily. And
Mhm.
so, unless you're, versed in that and that's your forte, I wouldn't recommend someone going to do that. But the thing is, the glutathione, no matter what you're doing in all those methods, it actually only sustains your glutathione. It has about a 7-minute half life. So in a couple hours, it's gone. So being that it's the master detox or master antioxidant means it goes and chomps up free radicals, neutralizing toxins throughout the entire body systemically. So it's only there for just a short period of time. Well, I don't know many people that can go get hooked up to IV glutathione every single day to try to give themselves massive amounts and
Right.
whatnot. So our patch looks the same as all the other patches, but this glutathione patch elevates and activates your own glutathione. It does that by activating a peptide in your liver. So it raises your own glutathione by over 300%.
That's amazing.
That's
Yeah.
huge. But because of our patented technology in the patch, it actually sustains your own glutathione level for over a 24-hour period. So what that means is I can put this patch on, I can leave it on 12 hours, take it off and throw it away, and my glutathione level is still elevated, which means my body's ability to go and remove toxins, neutralize toxins, is still working for
Yeah.
that whole entire 24-hour period. So it's detoxing my body, eliminating the things in there that I don't need. Those environmental toxins, the food toxins, the water toxins, right? My thought toxins. It's a huge, huge benefit to your immune system. And some people are like, well, I've got these, different types of conditions I've been diagnosed with. I don't want to do anything to boost my immune system. I'm like, that's not correct.
Yeah.
In that situation, because your immune system is not functioning correctly, we
Right.
want to get to the root of the problem. We want to reduce your inflammation in your cells. We want to pull these toxins out of the cells and eliminate them from the body. And we want to be able to have your stem cells go to work to do whatever is needed. And so when you look at the X39, the glutathione, X49, we have a patch called Eon. Those are amazing patches to be able to help your body get into balance. And literally, you're talking the price of a cup of coffee a day. And
Yeah.
it's nothing's going in your body. There's no interactions, no contraindications if you're on medications. And, coming from a background of holistic health, I'm into all kinds of things, but you got to be careful. You got to be careful with interactions with people, with their
Mhm.
medications and different foods and stuff. And there's none of that. No worry. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
Just to piggyback onto that before we move on to some of the other patches too, I just want people to understand that, especially women, as we get older and our body starts changing, moving, through, normal cycling, perimenopause into menopause, some of the ways that our body digests our own hormones is directly linked with our detox pathways.
Mm-hmm.
So whether or not your body is able to get rid of, there's an inflammatory estrogen molecule and then there's a healthy estrogen molecule, or like a
Mm-hmm.
like supportive anti-inflammatory.
Mm-hmm.
Some people with impaired detox pathways have too much of the inflammatory estrogen, therefore, leading them to a higher risk of breast cancer, ovarian cancer, all these different
Mm-hmm.
things, in addition to having a harder time with their cycles and with these, changes that we experience as we age. And so that's one of the things too that I think is super important and so amazing about this glutathione patch specifically, because I myself am aware that I have the MTHFR SNP. So if any of
Mm-hmm.
you out there know that you also have this, like this glutathione patch can, really be so supportive and life changing, and through your healing journey, through staying healthy, aging in a easier way,
Mm-hmm.
if actually, like, maybe even aging in reverse, if like again, like you said, if we use them consistently for a long enough time.
Mm-hmm.
And I've only really been consistently using the patches for like 2 months now, and people are already asking me like, what are you doing something different with like your skincare, or like, you're like,
Mm-hmm.
what's going on? I'm like, well, I'm just using these patches, and here I am.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
um
Something's changing.
yeah, I mean, things that maybe, like, when we look at ourselves every day, maybe we don't even notice it, but people, that we interact with in our lives, they notice it. And so you're getting that feedback.
Yeah.
And, even within like you're feeling, like you said earlier, you're feeling better, you're sleeping better, you're more alert, you have more energy. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I think that's important to like sort of help, reinforce that, the gravity of and the implications of what these patches
Mhm.
can really do for us.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times, people are they're suffering. Their quality of life is not what they want it to be, right? They're not in a position they used to be in their health, and so they want it fixed and they want it fixed now. And we know the healing process takes time. And so I think the big thing, like you said, is to be consistent and give it time. I mean, here you are just a couple months in, and people are already noticing. Why? Well, because your inflammation in your cells is coming down. Your body is helping to remove the toxins from the patches you're using. Glutathione elevates your, or X39 elevates your glutathione 30%. So just that patch in of itself is helping the detox process. So when we can remove some inflammation from the body, remove some toxins from the body, we do start to look different. And of course, we know X39 does elevate our collagen. And so by about that third month, we've got our collagen production revved back up again, to where it used to be when we were 18, which is fantastic. And so that's really important for that outside aging process too. But if you
Mhm.
know collagen, collagen is the glue that holds the body together inside, right? There's 5 different types of collagen, and this patch elevates all of your collagen, getting your all of your collagen back to where it needs to be, which improves your metabolism, your digestion. We see, when you're digesting and eliminating correctly, that changes a lot on the outside of the body. And being able to, of course, your hair, skin, nails, things like that. Again, more of a cosmetic thing, but really an indicator of your health as well. When you
Yeah.
can see that on the outside, but getting, like you said, with the MTHFR, 60+% of people deal with that and they don't even know it because
Right.
they haven't had the genetic testing done. Thank God I
Yeah.
don't have it. I did have my testing done several years ago. I'm grateful that I don't, but I work with so many people that do. And it goes to the root of the cell with the inflammatory process and bringing down that inflammation in the cells and removing those toxins. And glutathione is huge to get those detox pathways moving. And like you said, with women and their cycle and hormones, and as we age, and if you've got too much of the wrong, you've got to get that out. Right, we've got
Mhm.
to remove that and get that body back in balance, those systems back in balance. And SP6 is a patch that works with your endocrine system. And
Okay,
so
great.
at hormones balancing, obviously that set of glands and organs in your body that's responsible for our hormones, sp6 is very beneficial in getting that endocrine system in balance and helping the body to do all the processes correctly, right, function correctly.
Mm. Yeah.
But and again, don't want to say this takes place of proper nutrition,
Oh, right.
hydration.
Yeah.
We're not saying that, but using this tool to be able to help balance that endocrine system, to be able to get your hormones back in balance. Even looking, for example, at heart disease, we can look at functional med looks at the thyroid.
Mhm.
And if your endocrine system's not in balance, if your thyroid is out of balance, you're looking directly at heart disease. That's scary. People don't even correlate that. They're like, oh,
Mhm.
I've had thyroid issues. I've been on Synthroid for, 15 years. And I'm like, whoa, we've got to get that endocrine system in balance. And we have people that have come off their medications, right? With their doctor, not with me,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
their doctor, but they've been
Yeah.
able to reduce or come completely off of their medications, which is super important for longevity. I mean, a medication, and I'm not saying they're not needed at times, but a medication is synthetic. It
Right.
is a toxin. It's not something that you go outside and pick out back and use.
Yeah. Well, and technically speaking, all medications are supposed to be temporary. Like none of these medications were ever studied, to be taken for years and decades, end on end, So, unfortunately, it's just not how the Western medicine model approaches it though. And,
No.
it's, but also too, I think there's this aspect of taking responsibility for our health and our healing journey.
Mhm.
And so that's one of the reasons that I have decided to implement these patches in my life too,
Mhm. Yeah.
is to take that responsibility and say, okay, well, I want to support my body's processes in any way I can.
Mhm.
And, what can I do to empower my body to heal on its own? Because I
Mhm.
don't want to be on meds. at all, let alone the rest of my life. So
And like you said, if you do need to for a short period of time, great. But what can I do nutritionally? What do I need to detox out of my body so
yeah.
that my body does function correctly? What do I need to do to get it in balance? And the thing is, there's not, I mean, there are options out there, right? But there can be so many options. So sometimes it can be overwhelming with people.
Hmm.
And then we get into supplements, bottles on your countertop. Do you take them every day? Is your body actually even assimilating, digesting,
Right.
absorbing these nutrients? How bioavailable are they? And so, with this technology, you don't have to think about anything. You don't have to try to digest or assimilate or absorb or figure anything out. It's literally working at the speed of light inside of your body. The biochemical reactions, that chain reaction that's happening inside of the body, you can't think about it enough to make it happen. Like it just does not work that way. And that's what makes this so incredible and so effective for everything across the board, is because it's literally working at the speed of light inside of your body, causing these things to happen to put the body into balance. It's just,
Yeah.
it's genius. And it's so, I mean, over 2.5 years using this technology in practice, and obviously with tens and thousands, hundreds of thousands of people now over this time frame, it's what really amazing to see lives change, lives saved, lives improved, quality of
Yeah.
life, life that you
Yeah.
didn't think you were going to have with people, you know,
Hmm.
especially when no matter what the age, I always say from 2 to 102. But it's every life is important, and every time in with that life is important. And so we want to do what we can to help people. And sometimes there's just too much to think about and worry about and
Yeah.
consider. And this is something that is, tell your doctor, can I use a non-transdermal patch? He's going to say, sure, nothing's in it. I don't care. Right? Just
Yeah.
keep buying that prescription. And then you go back and you're like, not going to need that one anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Darn it.
Yes. Well, I want to thank you so much for your time today. Is there anything that you think that we, haven't, that we still need to bring forward to sort of wrap this up? I'm going to put a couple links up on the screens so people can, let me see. How do I, oh, here, there. So I'm putting up the startx39.com. So if people want to look at the primary literature and the research that's been done, I think it's super important to be informed. And, like I want everyone to check what we're saying, like don't just take our word for it. Go check it out, because whatever your interest is or the thing that you're struggling with or you're wanting to rebalance, go and look for that topic and see,
Mhm.
the implications that this technology can have because it's out there.
Yeah. So can you edit that link so it has
Yes.
start X39 now?
Oh, now.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
now.
I can get it.
Yeah, because on that link, start X39 now, you'll see the studies, but you'll also hear David Schmidt, and he actually does a quick video on every patch. So if you want to dive deeper, like you said, that's on there. There are also a lot of other doctors on there that are using this: chiropractors, medical doctors, dentists, different types, plastic surgeons, different doctors that are using this in their practice. So they share their information as well on there. And there's also links, of course, to the company's YouTube channel if you want to learn more educational. That website is strictly educational. Like I said, it doesn't link to anyone, but it's just going to give you more information about the product and how it works. But I definitely want you to talk about your link, Dr. Laura.
Oh, yeah. So the second link on here is lifewave.com/Dr. Lara May. And that's just the link that you can go to if you've decided from even the little that we've said today, even though it's been a lot, but it's like just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
If you've decided that you want to try some of the patches, you can go there and you can check out all the different patches. Would you suggest, Staci, that they're like a general baseline that people start with?
I always start with X39.
Okay.
Always. This patch is always your starting point because you just don't know what really is going on inside of the body. And this is going to address anything and everything in whatever order is most important inside of your body. My second patch that I like to add is Eon. Eon is a patch that reduces inflammation and brings the parasympathetic nervous system into balance. So we're
Mm.
sympathetic or parasympathetic. So keeping your body in that rest, relax, digest state. Those are my first go to for anything and everything. Obviously,
Mhm.
I love adding that X49, glutathione. Those are just key core things that people are dealing with. So we can definitely come back on at a different time, and I can
Oh,
go more
for sure.
in depth into some of the other patches. But always start with X39. The thing is, again, we don't know what order our body's going to repair, so you have to be patient with the process. And
Mhm.
why do we add other patches? If there's anything else I'd want to be able to share with you guys, why do we add other patches? We call those supportive patches. They support organ function or system function, or cellular function. And so they help the body to repair and recover faster. And a lot of times people want it and they want it now.
Yeah.
And so we can add a patch or two on, to be able to help a certain issue maybe that you're dealing with, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why we add on to the X39. But you can just stay with this patch and just patch with this patch for the next 6 months, 8 months, 12 months until you cross all your things off the list.
Yeah. Yeah, I work with several, a lot of older people that are dealing with aches and pains, and so there's
Mhm.
also, Icewave
Yeah.
that is specifically for pain,
Mhm.
so there's that too.
Yeah.
Like I said, we've just scratched the surface. I am definitely gonna have you back to talk more about this, and we can get more specific in our topic,
Yeah.
discussions
Absolutely.
as well. So, thank you so much. I appreciate your time, your expertise,
You're welcome.
and being with us today. And again, so everybody, the links are startx39now.com and lifewave.com/ Dr. Lara May to get your patches. So thank you again. And yeah, we will reschedule you and we'll keep everyone informed as to when you're coming back.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having
Thank
me. I
you.
appreciate it. Have a
Yeah,
wonderful day.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye.